Last time on Latio's no item run, Latio completed his journey through low rank. He defeated many foes without ever failing a quest, with the only challenging part of the challenge being near the end of his run through low rank. Now faced with the difficult task of going through high rank, how will he fare? Will he break the 30 feet threshold? Will he fail his first quest? Or could he even give up? Find out on today's episode of Latio's no item run. Despite the many obstacles and challenges I faced in low rank, high rank spelled to be the true beginning of this challenge. I began high rank with the abnormal Pookie Pookie quest. Just like in low rank, status ailments continue to be the bane of my existence, as there was not a good way to cure them. With that said, I was just fighting a Pookie Pookie, so there should be no— oh, I almost had him. Yep, once again, my last second curse kicked in. If you haven't watched my last video on low rank, basically the last second curse is when the monster has about 200 HP left and I somehow faint. And trust me, it's going to continue being my curse. Continuing on past this incident, I decided to start looking for pink Rathian tracks in the ancient forest to progress the story. During that time, I started to beat up Kuluyaku for literally no reason. Well, seemingly no reason. There was a reason to decide to go to the ancient forest, and you may be able to guess from this screen. Oh, it's Betelgeuse! Oh! Yep, I was going to go hunt Betelgeuse. For some reason, I just like to try to beat very powerful monsters way under-equipped, and it turns out that if you have a low rank armor, basically no armor in high rank, Betelgeuse scales one shot. Thus, I scored my second feint in high rank and decided to wait out Betelgeuse's aggro. After leaving the ancient forest, I decided to go to the Coral Highlands to grind out some armor. Despite the lack of armor, defeating Lagiana ended up being a very simple task. That's when a very familiar visitor arrived. That's right, Odogaron. Typically, Odogaron's one of my best quests, but this time around, I was the one that had a rough time. Odogaron turned out to be much tougher than anticipated because of my lack of equipment. I ended up fainting twice. Once was when I overestimated my guard's radius, and the second time was because I was panicking because Odogaron was trying to leave. Thankfully I did end up slaying him before he ran away. With enough evidence in hand, I was given a quest to face my nemesis, Anjanath. Being the only monster to make me faint more than twice, I had my work cut out for me. Despite this record against Anjanath, I was confident. I went into the quest swinging, easily knocking Anjanath into the near-death range. This is when the worst case scenario happened. That's right, Betelgeuse was back for more, and this time, I was not excited for him. It would add a potential one-shot into the mix. Thankfully, as I knocked over Anjanath, I also managed to deter Betelgeuse, or so I thought. As I charged an attack onto the knocked Anjanath, a Betelgeuse scale that was underneath it blew me up and killed me. It was fine, so I thought, so what? This last second curse struck again. This quest is certainly already— despite me blocking this attack, it turned out to be a command grab, and Anjanath scored another point. No way I could choke this quest, I thought, as I quickly ate at the canteen and then made my way back to Anjanath. I re-engaged with Anjanath when— this wasn't the worst outcome. Betelgeuse could assist me on some damage and— oh, hell no. Not only did Betelgeuse one-shot me, I also got command grab killed, and the monsters teamed up against me to make me fail the quest. I mean, what is this? A poke to Betelgeuse roar to Anjanath sneeze combo. I mean, what is my luck? And to rub salt into the wound. This is how my audio sounded during that whole exchange. Yes, this was definitely bullshit. And I couldn't end stream on a loss, so what else could I do?
We bowl with the bad mic. Who needs my expensive $100 mic, $120 mic, when I got the mic on my thing? It's probably god awful, but it will do.
That's right. I grabbed my Xbox 360 mic and decided to finish the stream like that. The rematch on Anjanath played out as perfectly as the beginning of the original run, with the only difference being no Betelgeuse to mess things up. Very simple. With my rematch out of the way, I ended stream to fix my stupid mic. Day 2 started with a bit of a grind. I needed to get more evidence for the main quest, so I decided to go hunt Legiana. I wanted to upgrade my current Legiana headpiece to the high rank variant, and I just needed a bit more material to do so. So everything worked out perfectly. Unfortunately, once again, Ice Blight got me, as I burned through my stamina and Legiana capitalized. Other than that, it was pretty simple. After vanquishing Legiana, I went and hunted Pink Rathian, where once again, I allowed the last second curse to strike. It was after this instance of the last second curse I decided to go back and tally every single time it had struck, for research purposes. Beating Pink Rathian meant we can finally go to Elder's Recess. This meant I could work on upgrading my armor equipment, as important materials were locked behind this quest wall. The Elder's Recess ended up really feeling like a recess. I just ran around, collected material, and tried to beat up random monsters with my non-existent armor, fainting twice in the process. I did defeat Dodogama, and got enough Fusium to upgrade my Buster Blade 2 to Buster Blade 3, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. Additionally, I got most of the Nergigante evidence I needed, but didn't because the handler told me I had enough, so I went back and trusted her, and I'm never trusting her again. This meant that later on I would have to go get 2 more tracks to complete the investigation. Besides that, I did realize 3 things during my expedition. First, Lava CF is annoying. I do know it's just a lava version of Gyaratortoise, but is like 100 times, 1,000 times more annoying in my book. Because I also take chip damage when I try to fight it, because it only stays in the fire areas. Second is that not being able to use Cool Drink would prove to be a pretty big issue in future quests, specifically Theostra. Third was my armor was kinda trash, and we kinda already knew that. I mean, I'm still rocking the same low rank armor as I did in my previous quest where I got one shot, so I decided to do a bit more grinding before taking on the Spite Dragon that is Nergigante. I hunted Palumu about 6 times, fainting once because of his stun, and Suzuyaku 3 times because of that said stun. In the end, it was a pretty simple second day, as I didn't really make too much progress in terms of the main story. It was just the tedious part of the story where I had to collect evidence and go through a ton of cutscenes. With the simple day out of the way, my last 5 quests were laid out in front of me. It was the final stretch. Going into this day, I suspected I would finish the challenge in the coming streams. In fact, I had planned to finish on day 5. However, I did not end up following that plan. This day started with Nergigante. I grabbed 2 Nergigante tracks before pushing on to face the beast. Nergigante is always a tough fight for me for some reason. I always end up fainting to him on normal runs, so it only made sense for me to faint to him on a specialty run. Thankfully, on my first time facing Nergigante, I fainted once. It was an overall good quest for me. Unfortunately for me, I had to hunt him at least a couple more times to get another tail. I wanted to upgrade my Buster Blade 3 to the Nurgle Judicator so I could have that big power spike. All I needed to get was a tail, so it shouldn't take too long. This was when things started to go wrong. I started my second quest on Nergigante, and I was doing well, up until this random person joined. They were what I called a low rank mercenary. These were players that were master rank hunters, but came into lower rank quests to help out hunters. And typically, this is fine. Unfortunately for me, they created a dilemma for me. This mercenary in particular joined my quest and buffed me. So the dilemma I faced was either I had to leave the quest, or I could stay in the quest because I did not use the item personally. Ultimately, I did decide the latter, only because I was only grinding, and this was already a quest I had cleared by myself with no items, and I wasn't the one that used the item. With that said, the low rank mercenary quickly killed Nergigante. Wait, hold on, roll that back. You can't be serious. Nope, that's right, Nergigante still had his tail. That meant that I had to hunt it again. It wasn't all bad though, because the mercenary gave me an idea to quickly get a tail and not waste so much time hunting it myself. And that was responding to SOS flares. After 2 failed attempts, I received a 1-shot faint, and then I gave up on the idea and just hunted it normally. This hunt, however, almost proved to give me another failed quest. I once again began to choke on the final stretch of a hunt. Thankfully, because I'm a weasel and started weaseling around, I managed to clutch the quest with minimal HP. With my newly upgraded Nurgle Judicator, it was time to face the 3 Elder Dragons, Fiestra, Kushiladora, and Valhazek. I decided to take on the most difficult one first, Fiestra. This fight would be extremely tough, and I knew that before going into it. For once, I did some prep for the monster. I went out of my way to get a fire resistance charm to deal with some of Fiestra's flames and to mitigate the most annoying part of the Elder's recess, the fire tick damage. Not being able to use the cool drink meant when I was in the fire areas, I received a bit of tick damage every single second, which meant even if I played perfectly, I could actually die to tick damage. This one factor almost caught me out several times, once even being the Nergigante fight. With that said, I was a bit unsure going into the quest.
Fire nearly as often. Usually he starts from the right.
Bro!
What the hell am I supposed to do about that?
And with good reason. 2 of my 3 deaths, I got cheese, and the other one I just had 0 brain cells. This meant that my second failed quest, once again, came from a fire monster. After being tilted by those deaths, my resolve to finish the quest was at an all-time low. I was only going through the motions, yet somehow I did manage to beat Fiestra this time around. Unfortunately, not without another cheese death. Originally, this is where I was going to end stream, but on a whim, I decided to keep it going. My next opponent was Valhazek. This fight was actually pretty simple. I brought a miasma decoration, making the HP cutting thing Valhazek does less effective. And this was the exact type of hunt I needed after that Fiestra fight. I really needed this pick-me-up at this point, and me dominating this Valhazek quest was the perfect thing. I was now re-energized as I pushed to finish the game. My next opponent was Kushiladora. Once again, compared to Fiestra, this fight was super simple. I will note that when Kushiladora went into its roosting spot, I could not for the life of me get on that stupid ledge. I mean, I did it the first time, but I rolled off on accident when trying to set up, and after that, I spent like 5 minutes trying to do it again. In the end, it took way too long, and Kushiladora woke up. Back to the story, this was the final quest. All that was left was Xeno'jiiva. All this prep work, all this effort was leading on to this one quest. And if I had to be honest, it was the most boring quest in the entire run. The fight was so slow and repetitive. I was getting bored, and at some point I purposely died so I could use the bathroom. The worst part was I couldn't hear the music, so the entire time it was just this.
Come on, just die, bro!
But with that frankly boring ending out of the way, I had officially finished the base game of Monster Hunter World. There were plenty of ups and downs with me gaining a newfound hate of fire monsters and me gaining a 4-star skill level in Greatsword. This challenge did prove to be a bit difficult, but it wasn't difficult enough. Now, here's on to the next. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please like and subscribe if you like the content, and if you're interested in seeing me do this challenge live, I'm going to start streaming here on YouTube. That means if you subscribe, you'll be able to catch every single release. I'm still trying to decide whether I want to start a new challenge or go through the pain of having no hot drink in Iceborne. If you'd like to see me suffer through Iceborne, or have ideas for my next video, please let me know in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. With that said, I'm outie.